What's up, everybody? Welcome to LB Cops TV. Bryon here. My first video, did it all by myself. Kind of scary, but we'll see if you guys can even see this. Steve asked everybody if they wanted me to do a video on the Canton audit. So I did. Not that hard. I don't see what all the fuss is about. But anyway, we got a lot of stuff to go over today. 206 pages. Obviously, we're not going to go over all that. We're going to stick with everything that happened with Officer O'Keefe. Got my readers so I can see. Shoulder's feeling good. Had an AC tear. So I got a little bump on my shoulder. But it's feeling better. So I hope you guys all joined in and watched Gonzo's video. It was pretty good on the jury selection. So we are going to talk about the audit. And I am going to try my best here. So stick with me here, okay? Let's hit the audit real quick. Let's go this way. This one? There we go. See that? All right. See? I forgot my light, so it's a little darker. So. Not that you want to look up my nose, but, I'll try to get a little light in here. My face here for you. All right. Let's get started here. So a lot of people were upset about the audit. A lot of people didn't want the audit, and I found that kind of odd. I mean, whenever you want to audit the police department, it should be acceptable because they're just trying to figure out exactly what's going on, where they're going wrong, what they're doing wrong, and what they're doing right. So the audit was conducted. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so included in the audit, assessment of policy, compliance with standards of law enforcement accreditation organizations. Okay, yeah, assessment of application of policy and recent investigation. Assessment of application of policy. Okay, move back to that. Assessment of written policy and protocols as applied in recent investigations. Okay, and presentation of findings and recommendations. Not included in the audit, reinvestigation of any case or finding or fact. That, okay. Analysis of evidence collected in ongoing or prior criminal cases, or ongoing, of course. Rendering any opinion of guilt or innocence of the party. Well, of course, they're not going to do that. Let's see. Here's all the work that's going. Yeah, we don't need all that. Evidence of crime scene protocols. Okay, so we all know they all did a crappy job at the crime scene, right? I mean, that's why the audit came. The audit team reviewed a series of crime scene incident reports spanning over a day. Okay, so finding. Let's do the observations and findings. Let's get to the good stuff. First responding officers should have photographed Boston Police Officer John O'Keefe at the location where he was found before fire rescue moved him to the rescue or to the hospital. Duh. Like, duh. That's Police 101. All interviews of critical witnesses, including Jennifer McCabe, Kerry Roberts, should have been conducted at the Canton PD on the 29th after John O'Keefe was transported to the hospital. Correct. Yeah. Consensual recorded witnesses interviews should have been conducted. Yeah. Again, people. The MSP, along with Canton PD, should have maintained a police presence at 34 Fairview Road, pending the secondary search conducted by MSP crime scene units. Yes. Again, you should have staged somebody there, and they should have went into the house. We've been all over this before. All video footage maintained in Canton PD computer systems can read Lexus SUV while it was housed in the Canton PD from January 29th through February 2nd. Should have been requested and turned over early in the Karen Reed case to lead investigators for any action as deemed appropriate. Correct. Professional standards, internal affairs. Do they even have internal affairs? I mean, they have 25 officers. Internal affairs. Canton PD internal affairs process is considered. We don't care about internal affairs. No, care about that. Canton PD is more. The Canton PD has above average morale as it relates to camaraderie and faith in the department. Really? Okay. Okay. So, operations and culture. The audit team observed Chief Rafferty's leadership style and found her approach and decision-making abilities to be effective. I bet they did. Chief Rafferty is highly respected by the members of the department, colleagues, blah, 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 blah. Okay, whatever. Social media personalities have claimed that the Canton PD deliberately mishandled the crime scene where Mr. Officer O'Keefe's body was found and implied a possible cover-up within the department to hide the circumstances around Mr. O'Keefe's death. Following her arrest, Karen Reed and her legal team have asserted the conspiracy cover-up following over the, okay, yep. While attention is restrained in the community, it is incumbent upon the leadership of the town to remain unbiased and objective. That's true. Any lack of support from the town leadership coupled with, yeah. Okay. So, and with this, they're getting their balls broken, right? The social media, everything coming around, right? There's people are upset. People are upset, and they have every right to be upset because this was a piss poor investigation, and everybody knows it. Interviews conducted by the audit team revealed that the officer did not feel they had a support of. Okay. Let's go here. Can PD detectives need advanced training in crime scene investigations? Absolutely. 100%. They did a piss poor job. So, did they even do a crime scene investigation for Officer O'Keefe? Come on. We all know what they did. The Canton PD needs to increase training budget to approved by the town, as they should. You need to train. They should be training every week. At Metro here, we train once a week, right? We have a training day every week, 4 times a month. And you train, whether it be scenarios, tabletop. You have to do that, man. Because like I said, in a crisis situation, you're going to revert back to your highest level of training if you don't train. And apparently, back in Canton with Officer O'Keefe, the crime scene, they don't train either. They didn't train because they had no idea what to do. Okay. There's other stuff I want to touch on, but I don't want to get ahead. All right. Should I be switching the? Hey, you guys can still see me, right? I think you still can. I did a test run. All right. Now this is their command, right? And I was taking a look at this. They have the patrol officers, sergeants, lieutenants. And then after that, it goes right to deputy chief and chief. Here at Metro, we have lieutenant, then we have captain. And then we have deputy chiefs. And then we have assistant sheriffs. So, but with such a small organization, they probably don't even need captains, or the lieutenant does the job of the captain. But it's pretty normal, pretty standard, especially for a real small town. I mean, they only have 20, or how many? They have, let's see, Canton PD is municipal, 50 personnel. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought it was 25. 42 sworn officers. Okay, so 42. So 42 officers. That's not even one of our area commands out here in Las Vegas. Just one area command is 130 to 150 guys, right? One. We have 9. So these guys have 42 officers. It's not even half of one of our area commands. That's how small it is. All right. So their shifts. Yeah, I didn't know they do 8-hour shifts in Canton. We do 10 hours out here in Vegas. And we have 4 days off, or 3 days off. We do 4 10s. Divided Northwest. It's okay, cool. Their graveyard is midnight till 8, pretty much. Okay. Well, not bad. I could do that. 8 hours. But then, you only get 2 days off, though. That's what sucks. The regulation of the Canton PD expectation of professionalism, courtesy, integrity is the backbone of the department. Is it? Is it? Professionalism, courtesy, integrity. Okay. Have to ask Proctor about that one. Right? Where are we at here? Did I leave it on that page? I did. Okay. Again, this is how small Canton is. 2024, Canton had 8,928 calls for service, right? Or and police initiated contacts, which means anytime you do a car stop, a person stop, you get called to a domestic call for any reason, right? That's 8,900. Vegas, we get 6,000 to 8,000 911 calls a day. See the difference? You guys get 9,000 in a year. We'll get 6,000 to 8,000 a day. That's just 911 and 311. That's not even initiated. If we did all the officers initiated actions in a day, man, we'd probably be at 15,000, 20,000 with car stops and person stops in the entire valley. Absolutely, yeah. So 235 arrests. Yeah, that's 75. So they had, let's see, so 75 arrests, immediate and handcuffing at least one defendant. 75, so 37 of them were use of force, which makes sense because the use of force usually happens when you have to arrest somebody, right? I mean, that's just what happens, right? Sometimes they don't want to go to jail. Scope work areas evaluated. Okay, this is all the policies, informants, blah, 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 review documentation. I have no idea how long this video is going to be, people. It could be 20 minutes. It could be 2 hours. I don't care about that section. Okay. Policy key elements. So this is all about, Miranda, interviewing people, which again, you do it the same way every time, right? Consistency. Do it the same way every time and you won't mess up, right? So again, when you don't train and you don't practice, you don't know. Voluntary statement, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, all right, yeah, we don't. Conducting interviews. Interviews should be done at the police station, recorded. If you can't do it at the police station, it should be done in a detective's vehicle, recorded. Every interview should be recorded. It's 2025. You always want to get them on tape, period. Search chain of custody. Yeah. Let's cover that. Chain of custody. Critical details included location, date, time. Yeah, they didn't have any of that, right? Emphasis is the computerized record management. They didn't have that. Let's get to the inspection of inventory recommendations. Okay, so all Canton PD sergeant vehicles should be equipped with digital cameras for photographing and memorializing crime scenes, specifically for acquisition of evidence. Y'all don't should be. Ours already are. Ours have been. Ours have been for 20 years. This is 2025. Where y'all been? In Bedrock? The Flintstones? What do you mean should be? It will be equipped. That it shouldn't say should be. It will be equipped with everything to do your job. Yeah? All evidence should be photographed at the time seizure by detectives and captured on body-worn camera. We all don't have body-worn cameras, so by patrol officers when possible. Again, these photographs should be entered into evidence as separate exhibit and their acquisition documented in the reporting of events. Canton PD was found to be in compliance with evidence procedures during annual announced audits. The audit team recommends the leadership of Canton conduct unannounced audits with both evidence custodian and alternative evidence custodian at different times. So what they're saying is basically do like almost like a mock scenario or just to see what they'll do and give them, say, hey, go in there, there's stuff in there, and we need you to impound this stuff, all this evidence, figure it out, right? You shouldn't have to tell them how to do their job. They should know how to do their job. If my boss says, I want these 10 rooms cleared, he's not going to tell me how to clear them each room by room. He doesn't care about that. All he cares about, get it done. So I'm not going to sit there and say, well, how do you want me to do it? No, I should already know how to do my job. My boss tells me to do something, I get it done. He don't care how I get it done. He just wants it done, right? All Canton PD marked units, right? So that's patrol, should have crime scene preservation kits, crime scene tape, right? We know Lank loves his tape. Scribe equipment. Yeah, there's your scribe, your log. Evidence collection kits in their vehicles. All sergeant and detective vehicles should have full crime scene kits, including bags and sealing equipment. Yep. Normal cop stuff. I had that in my car my entire career. Stuff to pick up the blood, all your biohazard, right? Not a big deal. It's your tools. You got your tools on your belt. You got tools in your car. So that should be this should be an everyday thing already. They should have had this in place, but they didn't. Non-testifying. They do talk about testifying here, which in all police they have a court class. Basically, it's how to testify, how to act in court, how to dress in court. You know, it's pretty self-explanatory. Just be professional, tell the truth. It's pretty simple, but they do have a class on it. We all do. Mental health. Okay. Handle the juveniles. No, we don't care about juveniles. What's the juvenile here? Is 12, or here is 11. But I think I read in Canton it was 12. Yeah. Here in Vegas, you can't get arrested unless you're 11. You have to be 11. Hit and run investigations. Okay. So, was this a hit and run? All right. Is that what they were saying? This was a hit and run, right? Let's see what they should have done. The policy states that officers responding to hit and run should first make provisions for the medical treatment for the victim. The officer should follow up on the condition of the victim as he is transported to the hospital to ensure charges are filed, including motor vehicle homicide if it appears he may die. Officers should obtain the best possible description. All right, we got all that. Any description, communicate, blah, blah, blah. Officers should search the area, the crash scene, including the automobile. So the area. Photographs and measurements should be taken at the scene when required at the direction of the shift supervisor or detective on the scene. Officers should examine the person of the clothing victim for evidence, particularly in traces of the vehicle. If necessary, officers should preserve articles of clothing and other samples of evidence, such as hair, blood. Officers should be observant for potential persons to be interviewed in the area of the scene. Where appropriate, officers should conduct door-to-door canvass at residents' business vicinity of the hit and run scene, right? Door to door. Across the street to the chief who lived across the street, ring door or his ring cam, right? He removed himself because he knew the outfit. So of course you knew the outfit. They lived across the street. Which is why you should have been out there helping out. But you weren't, were you? No. If I was the chief and I had a dead officer on the front yard across the street in your house, on your yard, we're going to talk. We need to have a conversation. I have a dead officer on your front yard, Mr. Albert. No, we are talking. Period. Preliminary search the suspect's car by a reasonable effort to apprehend offender. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So that's what they should have done, right? The lead detective and the not senior officer, but the chief or the lieutenant, the watch commander, whoever is in charge, absolutely should have responded like did. If the vehicle involved in the accident is located, should be carefully examined. Dents and body damage should be measured. Depth patterns. Photographs should be taken if possible. Obtain samples of the paint chips if possible, right? Broken glass, pieces of clothing, blood, hair, the one hair, the little hair that could. How dare I stare at the dangerous hair? Right? Didn't that one little hair stick? You guys with me? Oh. Still there? Oh. Yeah, that one little hair. Should we change the scene? What's this bit? Ah, okay. Oh, let's move there. Let's see that. All right. So the hair, right? The one hair. I've had people ask me, "Hey, man, do you think one hair could stick to the car?" I don't know. I mean, in a storm, the hair, it's stuck to the car. Like, I don't know how many miles, 6 miles, 10 miles, rain, snow, sleet. Could it? I don't know. To me, I mean, if you want my opinion, no. Right? In my opinion, you got Proctor back at the car. When it's at the lab, very easy to just put a hair on there. Not saying he did that, but it would be easy to do. See what I'm saying? So, all right, let's see here. Let me go back to the tab here. All right. Citations, motor vehicle citations have discretion, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, just they're saying that citations are, they're in lieu of an arrest, right? A citation is actually when you get a ticket, like a speeding ticket, it's actually an arrest. But instead of taking you to jail right then, we're actually having you sign the ticket and you're saying you'll show up to court and explain why. That's it. Because if we took every single person to jail for a ticket that we gave a ticket, there would be nobody left in the city, and the jails would not be big enough. So that's why we give a ticket in lieu of arrest. Telephone and radio use, including personal cell phones, which you should never use your personal cell phone as a police officer, as Proctor saw. Right? Proctor's got a new policy. This is called the Proctor policy, right? The Proctor policy. You don't use your personal cell phone for police business. The reason you don't is because they can subpoena it and then they take your phone. And I'm not talking about, you could be the cleanest cop in the world. Like, I don't want them taking my phone, right? Because I need it. It's my phone. And if I didn't do anything wrong, I'm not worried about it, but I don't want to be without my phone for a long time. So you always use a department phone. And if you don't have one, then you don't look, man, then figure it out. But at Metro, everybody gets an iPhone. Yeah, nice. Everybody gets an iPhone. I didn't get an iPhone, but I retired right before that. But everybody now has an iPhone that you only use for police business. So it'll stop some of the stuff that Proctor did, right? With his infamous texts. And that's what they recommend, right? I didn't even get to that yet. I apologize. The recommendations are, don't use your own personal phones. At least that's what I'm assuming it says. Team for recommends the issue of department phones. Yes. If not financially feasible to issue all sworn officers a cell phone, phones should be issued to officers of the rank of sergeant or higher, and then they get signed out at the beginning of the night. Yep, you could do that. You could do that. Under no circumstances should a sworn officer use his or her personal phone for police business. Yeah. No, that's what I just said. The areas do not provide okay. CEO, general protocol. Department members must report incidents to their chain of command. Okay, where's the report writing? Because Seraph and Mulaney sucked at the report writing. I can't believe. Who was it, Mulaney or Seraph? Whichever one of them wrote that report. I think it was Mulaney. It was like 4 sentences. 4 sentences, 5 sentences. That's beyond unbelievable. For you have a dead officer, a report. It's not in 5 sentences. That's like some kindergarten bullshit is what that is. And they know it. They knew that was bullshit report. I would have fucking crumbled that report up in his face, smashed it in his face, and say, fucking rewrite that shit, dude. What the fuck's the matter with you? Fuck, man, we got a dead fucking cop here, and you're fucking handing shit in like you're a fucking 2-year-old. Sorry. I'm getting upset. Then I don't have Gonzo here. I don't have Steve here to reel me in. Oh, boy. What page am I on? 37? I'm going kind of slow on it. Continue. They recommend actions taken, blah, blah, blah. All right, let's get to some good shit. Protocol, orders, procedures, chief. Yeah, okay, whatever. Chief, nobody cares about that. Dispatch fund. Y'all need dispatchers, man. I read this. You're putting cops in there as dispatchers? and then they're not even dispatching the cops to the calls. I guess 3 times you guys didn't. People call 911, man. You need to send the cops. Okay, you need to send the cops. You can't just not send them. And cops sometimes are, lazy or not that bright. We're street smart, but not always that book smart. So, but still, cops like to mess around a lot. But you can't have you got to have dispatchers. Okay, period. You have to hire dispatchers. Maybe if you didn't pay your cops fucking $300,000 each, I was making $100,000 a year, and I'm going to friggin' 100,000 calls a year. These guys are making double what I made and what Gonzo made. Double. And I've probably seen 1,000,000 times more things than they have, and done 1,000,000 more things than they have. Why are they making so much money? We're out here working our ass off. I'm going call to call every night, humping and bumping, and damn, for 100 G's. And that was after 20 years. I started off at 32,000. 32,000. That's what my life was worth, I guess, back then. 32,000. Y'all are making over 200,000. Damn. If you didn't pay yourself so much for doing nothing, maybe y'all could get some dispatchers. Jeez. I hope the audit shows that you guys are paying everybody way too much money. Look, and it's too late now. It's not like you can cut everybody's pay. You made your bed, you got to lay in it, man. But that's, look, and I'm all about a guy getting an honest living and a decent wage. But I mean, Vegas right here running and gunning, going crazy. Y'all are kind of chilling, and y'all are making double the pay. Shit, go be a cop in Canton. All right, sorry. I went on some tangent. Field reporting. Yeah, who cares? Recommendations in line with recommendation to interrogate witness section, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay, who cares? Media and public information, who cares? Stage with the community, yeah, okay. Bias-free policing, to arrest. That's alternatives to arrest again. Field training, evaluation, in-car recording. I should have, well, we don't have in-car. We just have the body cam. Okay, so now their body cams are coming, right? 2024, Canton PD implemented the use of the body-worn cameras. The senior lieutenant is responsible for overseeing the body-worn camera. Okay, so basically you're going to check out your body-worn camera. It'll be assigned to you. It'll be yours, okay? And looks just like that, right? You'll put it on every day, and you put the battery on, and it's yours, right? And when you get dispatched to a call, you double click, and you turn it on. Right? I used to keep mine right on my belt, so I could just double click. Detectives are going to have to use it as well. The supervisor, camera. So when did they start this policy? Where is it? I think it was like October. They started this last year. So, yeah, you knew it was coming. You knew it was coming. They got to have the body cams, right? If they would have body cams for this, we would have seen a lot. We would have seen a lot. So, yes, I'm all for them having body cams. Duty to intervene. We have that. I wouldn't see that there would be any policy violation there. Yeah, duty to intervene. Just means if your buddy's going off on somebody, you intervene. If you don't, you can get fired. Yeah. The audit team observed nothing contrary to policy established and usage recommendations strongly encourage added to opening policy. No, don't need that. Domestic disputes. Don't care about that. Dead bodies. Recommendations. Okay. So no, that was. Okay, so overall, the handling of the deceased individuals requires thorough adherence to statutory provisions, carefully documentation of the scene, cooperation between law enforcement and medical examiner, and proper notification of relevant authorities following established protocols. They review the policies, procedures, evidence collection, blah, 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 made, blah. Okay, so first responding officers should have photographed the scene. The Canton PD properly notified Massachusetts police. However, MSP were not decisive in the response to the notification. Why not? Pending MSC acceptance, it is Canton PD crime scene, and they should have handled it as such. Yep, it's your scene. Keep it, right? It's yours. You own it. The arriving Canton PD units were not properly equipped. Nope, they were with crime scene equipment, allowing for proper crime scene processing. Evidence bags, digital camera collection. Yep, all good stuff. Canton PD should have maintained a presence with at least one patrol officer marked patrol unit at 34 Fairview Road to preserve the crime scene pending further investigation by MSP. Yeah, duh. Like from a cop? Yeah. This shit should have been done in the first place. You shouldn't even have been audited for this. Not at all. Not at all. But, I don't know how this probably doesn't look good to a layperson either. But as a cop, like y'all have to be told to do this? Okay. That's like telling a surgeon, hey man, you got to cut. Oh, you actually got to cut into the skin? Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Yeah. Recommendation also the Department of Influence based tabletop. Okay, so here the recommendation is some tabletop training. And tabletop training is good. It's fun. It makes you think outside the box. You get a good overview of a scenario, depending on what kind of scenario you want to do. But we do tabletops a lot. We did it with Metro. We still do it today with the team I'm with. So they're good because you never know what's going to happen. So sometimes you got to run through stuff, and that's how you get mentally prepared. And that's how you realize some of your weaknesses. So, you when you have a team or you have a squad, you got to know your strengths and weaknesses. So people are so, yeah, okay. So cold cases, no criminal intelligence, no internal affairs. You can't even have internal affairs. It's got to be an outside unit, right? I read it, but I'm telling you, basically they're saying you got to have an outside unit because you do. You got 42 guys? I mean, I guess you could have one or two guys, maybe a couple people, but to me, it would be, then you get the good old boy system. That's the problem. You get the good old boys, and now internal affairs is like, just sweeping stuff away, and it's not a big deal. And I know they have some stats here on some stuff they did. HH training, note recommendations. Where is the, all right, here we go. So the oath. I know they have a timeline in here too. So the oath, this is the oath that they took, right? I took this oath as well as the gonzo. I've never taken an oath in my life, I took my oath very serious, very serious. I mean, you're literally swearing, before God and everybody in front of you to uphold the Constitution of the United States of America. I mean, and protect everybody and uphold the rules and regulations of your town. Matter of fact, let's read it. I, blah, 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 do solemnly swear that I support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the laws and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, by the bylaws of the town of Canton and the rules, regulations, and all the law directives, written as well as unwritten, of the Canton Police Department, and that I faithfully discharge the duties of the office of police officer to which I have been appointed in accordance to the law and the best of my ability. Like, that's cool. And then you dishonor it, you dishonor it, man. And I guess I take my oaths a little bit more seriously. And gonzo, All right, with no recommendation being made on the second, yeah. they got to say the oath every day. No, they don't. Domestic violence, DV, first time you'll get in trouble, second time you'll get fired. Code of conduct. Yeah, I mean, code of conduct is just how you function in your day to day, right? And you got to be professional. You got to be courteous. You got to be responsible. I mean, it's just part of life, man. Every day in your work, when you go out and you face the world, right? You try to put your best face on, make a difference in someone's life, right? You try to help people as much as you can. I mean, I'm talking about as a cop, right? You try to help everybody. So your code of conduct, it's got to be there. And don't get me wrong, sometimes you have bad days, and you're just not happy and this and that, and we're all human. So, but for the most part, you got to stay on par. Page 85. Where are we at? 73. Should I change the screen? What are we doing here? Okay, sorry. All right, let's change it to this. Oh, back to that. What's this one? Let's try this one. Can you guys see that? Probably not, but that's all right. I'll read it to you. All right, nothing about roll call. Recommendations. You guys, well, roll call is just we call it briefing. Other places call it roll call. Their recommendations, none. Yeah, it's roll call. That's where you meet in the beginning of your shift, hang out with the sergeant. They tell you what's going on for the day, get your call sign, sector beat. We always had the same call sign, the same sector beat. Briefing was really just get together, roll call, you hang out, shoot the shit a little bit, figure out what everyone's going to do, where you might eat, what kind of night you're going to have. Of course, here in Vegas, like once we logged on, we were gone. We were busy all night. You probably wouldn't even see anybody else on your squad the rest of the night. Usually you get called, like Gonzo and I, right? I was 1 SAM 5, he was 1 SAM 6. So dispatch would come on the air, hey, 1 SAM 5, 1 SAM 6, copy a call, right? Because our numbers are right next to each other. So, and then once we get that first call, Gonzo and I, 1 SAM 5, SAM 6, we're with each other the rest of the night. We might not even see anybody else or our sergeant the rest of the night. We just handle business. And it's kind of fun that way. Selection process, okay. Dispatch granted. Yeah, you need dispatchers. Definitely. They have a school resource officer. Okay, so one officer assigned responsible for covering 3 elementary schools in the town of Canton. While this officer excels in coordinating his presence at each school and verifying his whereabouts unpredictably, it is logistically impossible for him to be in all 3 places at once. Well, yeah. Well, why don't you have 3? Well, you probably don't need 3. I mean, it's Canton, 1. We have school police here. They're all right, I guess. I don't know. I had to yell at one because he didn't want to do his job, but like literally, I get called to the police or to the school for a battery. Right, a kid hit another kid. So I'm like, well, why am I here? The school police officers telling me. He's like, hey, this is what happened. I'm like, can't you handle this? He's like, well, you're the police, dude. Your name is school police. You are a cop, and we are at school. Handle your shit. He didn't like that, so I walked out. He had to do all of it. What are you gonna do? I mean, you're school police. Write him a ticket and be on your way, because that's what it would have happened. You get a ticket. All right, special operations, recommend compliance. Kalia, audit recommends impact. Okay. Officer personal vehicle use. Well, I mean, that's on you. Can't use your personal car for on-duty business. Can't do that. Not here at Metro, ever. Can't use your personal car because if you get an accident or something, they don't want to pay for it. So you always have to use a department car. So, and if it's a take-home, that's considered, a department car. You can drive that around. But I wouldn't drive it drunk or leave your badge or gun in it, like some officers did, right? Oh, okay. Just making sure. Overtime. Dang. Woo! Oh, 378,000. Woo! We're going to Applebee's. Damn. I mean, I get it. Y'all don't have enough cops. You don't have any dispatchers. So you gotta pay everybody all this money. You got guys on military leave, right? Sick time, vacation time, people having babies. What's FMLA, right? Yeah. So as let's hit this real quick. As stated in sections, we recommend adding additional officers. Yeah, I just said that to the organization table once the department gets full staffed. The additional officer positions will reduce the amount of overtime funding required now to meet minimum staffing requirements. Correct. Oh, man. So day shift, they have 4 cops, right? And a sergeant. Second shift, 4 cops. Wow. In the whole city? Damn. Vegas. Yeah. A lot more than that. We have at least 300 to 500 right off the bat. Right off the bat. Yeah. There's the difference. It's a recommendation. Oh, the team, your phone, yeah, person. If you want to use your phone, go ahead. But if it gets taken from you, don't come bitching. Crime scene protocols. Okay, yeah, this one I have Matt marked A. All right. All right. The audit team assessed various aspects related to crime scene investigation procedures, evidence collection. All right, blah, blah, blah. All right. The audit team reviewed Canton Police policy and procedure, specifically focusing on evidence collection. The policy outlines the responsibilities of first responders, including evidence preservation and protection of the crime scene. Policy designates the sergeant or shift commander take command of the crime scene. It mandates the involvement of trained personnel for evidence collection. Canton PD collaborates with external agencies like Plymouth for crime process. Okay. Did you hear that? Let's hit that sentence again. Policy designates the sergeant or shift commander, that lank, take command of the crime scene. He did that, yeah? Am I too close? I feel like I'm getting too close. External agents. Oh, wait, no, I missed it. Crime scene and mandates the involvement of this. Here it is right here. Trained personnel for evidence collection, right? Those 4 words. They did say in here somewhere that they were like impressed with their, how they just improvised. No, you don't improvise. I'm sorry. What you do is, if you don't have the proper tools, right? You don't got the proper tools, you wait and you call another department or you call people that do. You secure the scene, you lock that shit down airtight until the properly trained professionals get there with the proper equipment. You understand? There's where you guys messed up. You improvise thinking, oh, this is a good thing. Not a good thing. Lank being the watch commander or whatever they want to call him, whatever, should have said, you know what? Stop. We're not using solo cuffs. Stop. We're not doing this. Stop. We're not. Let's wait. Right? It would have been better. But they didn't. So, all right. What was ND? I had something to say about D. I think carefully examine the incidents reporting spanning 10 years where they basically fucked it up for 10 years, updated protocols related to evidence collection and preservation, including procedures for handling these crime scenes in inclement weather. Y'all are Boston, man. This is Vegas, right? We know it gets hot here and windy. Like today, it's windy as hell. We know that. So when things happen, we're prepared. Y'all are Boston. Updated protocols, including procedures for handling crime scenes in inclement weather, just updated on 2023. Was the night Officer O'Keefe died the first time it ever snowed in Boston? Because they're acting like it was a nor'easter and it dropped a foot of snow in 10 minutes. And when I see the camera footage, didn't look like it was snowing really that hard. I mean, the wind was blowing. I'll give you that. The wind's blowing. Wind sucks. I get it. But didn't look like it was snowing all that hard. But, again, I wasn't there. But still, yeah. It wasn't the first time it snowed, right? I mean, you guys should be used to working in the snow like a lot, all the time. Matter of fact, you guys should be like snow experts. Like out in the heat here, we're experts. You come out here, I'm not going to let you die of heat exhaustion, right? Because I know I'm not going to let you do certain things. I know here when it's 115, if you're outside for more than 10, 15, 20 minutes, walk around doing hard exercise, you might need to take a break, especially if you're older. You know what I mean? That sun gets to you very quickly. So as does cold and snow. So y'all should know that, man. Come on now. You can't be the first person to say that. Maybe I am. I don't know. What do I know? Yeah, so for 10 years on the head, so yeah. Why didn't you document the photo of the scene with the photos and everything the way you were supposed to? It's in policy and procedure since 2013 on how to conduct evidence collection and to properly secure a scene from 2013, right? What's the problem? Why didn't you do that now? Why didn't you follow all the proper procedures for the evidence? Dude, come on now. I ain't no rookie. You knew what you were doing. You know. Oh, took some caffeine. Oh, had some Arby's. Couldn't even eat it. I took like 2 bites. It was all fatty and gross. I had to throw it out. Blech. All right. Sorry, I was getting worked up there. Should we do another? Let's do. It's too small. I guess we'll keep it here, people. All right. The timeline, yeah. All right. So 5:04, Canton PD receives a call. Approximately 5:04, Kerry Roberts, Canton Police reported that Mr. O'Keefe had not returned home. Okay. 6:04, they received a 911 from Jennifer McCabe, who reported that there was a guy unresponsive in the snow, 34 Fairview. A guy. What wasn't it her friend that she loved? Right? Police officer. A guy. Just on the yard, right? Fucking unbelievable. You know what? I'll stop there. Unbelievable. I was in shock and horror. I was my dear friend and I loved him. Well, you didn't love him because you just fucking said he's some guy on the fucking yard. So how did you really love him? Sorry. All right. So let's see. McCabe passed over to the fire and rescue service. McCabe stated she thinks Mr. O'Keefe passed away. Reference is made to the 911 call. Sergeant Good dispatches Officer Sarah from Mulaney. Okay. Those two geniuses show up. Sergeant Good notifies Sergeant Lank. Lank shows up with his tape and his leaf blower. Or was that Gallagher with the blower? Nah, either way. It's like the blind leading the naked. You know what I mean? It's like Super Troopers. You know, for real. All right, 6:09. Canton PD Officer Sarah arrives, observes Mrs. McCabe, Karen Reed, and Kerry Roberts, who were over the body of John O'Keefe, performing CPR. Okay. So Karen's the only one working on John, right? Karen's doing all the work. Nobody else is. That's love. That's love. When you're working somebody and you're covered in their blood and their ickiness that's coming out of them, that's love. No denying. That's love. So nobody else was doing it. I mean, according to McCabe, it was just some guy. So, all right. Canton Fire responded, took over first aid response. Sarah reported Karen Reed was distraught and could not tell him what happened. Well, yeah, she wasn't there. So, Canton PD Officer Mulaney arrived and observed, 6:12, observed the female conducting CPR on John O'Keefe. Officer Mulaney reported he arrived in concert with fire rescue personnel and assisted them with placing John O'Keefe in the rescue. Officer Mulaney reported Miss Reed was hysterical and made statements such as, "Is he dead? That's my boyfriend." All fine. Of course she's going to say that. Anybody would say that. You're going to say, "Yeah, is he dead? This is my boyfriend. What's wrong?" Yeah. Any questions like that is normal. That's, Officer Mulaney reported Sergeant Good told me to Robert Miss Reed home. Yeah, that's a mistake. Officer Mulaney, especially if you think that she hit him, that's a mistake. Officer Mulaney reported Reed's father called Canton PD and reported Karen Reed was suicidal. Ordered Miss Roberts to return to the scene with Miss Reed. Okay. Mr. Reed called in that Karen was suicidal. My 2 cents, I would not have done it. And here's why. As soon as you call in that somebody's suicidal, most likely they're going to get legal 2000. That's what we call it here in Las Vegas, legal 2000. Meaning I'm taking you into custody, but I'm not taking you to jail. You're going to see a doctor for up to 3 days. It's up to the psychologist. They can release you in 2 hours. They can release you in 3 days. They can commit you. It's up to them and how you act. Realistically, and just from my experience, when, and let's just use Karen's scenario, just that, right? Her boyfriend is now dead. She's freaking out. She's talking about suicide. Very normal. Very normal. She's very upset, right? And she's probably still maybe a little intoxicated. I don't know. That's not very unusual for people to get that upset. They instantly go to the darkest place because you got to remember it hits you so hard that you can't breathe. You don't know what to do. And you're distraught and you feel like life is over. And it's just all these emotions, right? And sometimes you say things that you really don't mean. And you got to be careful with that because like in front of the cops or doctors and stuff, if you say you want to kill yourself, they're going to legal you. So sometimes you really want to control what your mouth basically is what I'm saying is even if you are feeling kind of suicidal, if you really are, obviously tell your friends or something. Cause obviously we don't want you to do that. But if it's not real and you're just like, oh my gosh, I want to die. You see what I'm saying? You see the difference? So just be careful with what you say. Because if she wasn't legal that night, it might have been a little different. Might have actually been a little bit better for Karen to not be legal that night. But we don't know because she was legal that night. So, we don't know. But I'm just saying it could have been a little different if she wasn't. So, just be careful with when you say that stuff. That's all. Okay. Because then she got taken to the hospital. Right. All right. Rendered first aid, 612. Fire department rendered first aid. Arrived and rendered first aid. Okay. 614. Mr. O'Keefe went to the ambulance. Miss McCabe, Miss Reed. Okay. Yes, Sergeant Good reported Miss Reed was yelling and she was acting hysterical, stating, "Is he dead?" Well, yeah, she wants to know, man. She has the right to know. It's her boyfriend. If that was your wife laying there, wouldn't you want to know if she was alive or dead? I mean, come on, man. It's like these people don't have a heart. Miss Reed McCabe placed in the backseat of the patrol car. Yeah. Again, you don't put them together. You got to separate everybody. I don't seem Miss McCabe provided Sergeant Good with a timeline of events. Why is Miss McCabe giving a timeline? Why is Miss McCabe opening her mouth? Sergeant Good reported that he interviewed Miss Roberts on scene and gave him a timeline. Well, why don't you guys get the timeline from the facts and the evidence, right? Instead of just from, you can listen to some people, but knowing what we know now, man, they were steering you guys, man, steering you. 624, Canton PD Detective Sergeant Lank arrived at the scene, took command, pulled out the leaf blower and the fucking crime scene tape, fucking taped up that whole block. Ow. Shouldn't have done that. And blew the shit out of that yard with that fucking leaf blower. Attempts to obtain a statement. She was, Sergeant Lank noted that Miss Reed was hysterical and attempt to obtain a statement from her were unsuccessful. Well, yeah, man. That's not the time to get a written statement, man. She's freaking out, right? You got to let her calm down a little bit. You should stay with her too. Miss Reed mentioned that she did not remember being at 34 Fairview. Yeah, you got to remember when crazy stuff happens, your brain almost kind of goes into protection mode, right? It kind of tries to protect you from severe trauma. So a lot of times you don't remember stuff. It's just the way it is. All right. 638, Sergeant Lank contacted MSP. Summary condition, John O'Keefe. Sergeant Lank receives a call from Trooper Proctor. I bet you did. Briefed on the situation. Bet you were. Wow. Canton PD officers were at the scene. They reported they heard Miss Reed make statements such as, "Is he going to die?" Yeah, we know that. Yeah, because she's worried. Sergeant Lank took a statement from Jennifer McCabe, who provided a timeline of the events that led Miss McCabe and Miss Roberts and Miss Reed to 34. I bet you did, man. They took you right down that road. Those girls held your hand, right? Jezebel. Traitors. Took your hand. Got you hook, line, and sinker, man. Sergeant Lank was contacted by Canton PD by Miss McCabe. Again, sorry, there's hairs floating around. Requested Sergeant Lank to return to 34 Fairview. Hey, I order you to get back here. Who the fuck are you to Boy, Miss McCabe's got a lot of power. She's calling up cops, demanding them to go to shit. Must be nice. She ordered him to return to 34 Fairview. Yes, ma'am. And Lieutenant Paul Gallagher responded. Spoke to Miss McCabe, who advised when Miss McCabe and Miss Roberts were driving around looking for John. She heard the effect, I hope I didn't hit him. See how she planted that seed? Right? Call the officer back. Hey, man, I've got to tell you. This is what I heard. That's what she said. Trust me. Oh, yeah, I guess that is a lot of snow. Is that a lot of snow? I don't know. How much? I keep thinking this is alive. I think I'm asking you guys. How much snow fell that night? Do we know? Is it in this audit? Okay, O'Keefe. 0750. Mr. O'Keefe is declared dead. Good Samaritan Hospital. Okay, so we did get some pictures. Who took these? That's good. Okay, so let's read this note here. Sergeant Lank notified MSP, who reported that they are not responding to the scene. Right? Okay, that's good. Yeah. No reason to come help out with a dead cop, right? Sorry, my notes are running. Right? You don't need to show up, help out with a dead officer, fellow officer. I don't think they wanted to go to I think they wanted to stay away from that, Proctor and Long. Right? If you're not there, you don't feel like intimate with the scene. You can honestly say, like, I wasn't there because I wasn't, right? So you're not lying, right? Maybe it just made him feel a little better. All right. Lieutenant Paul Gallagher, 7 a.m. was brought to the area. John O'Keefe's body was found. Did we ever get an exact location of where the body was? Okay. How about that audit? Did you ever ask anybody, where the fuck was the body exactly? Like, how hard is that? The fact that we don't know exactly where the fucking body is, gosh. Can't detectives secured blood evidence in red Solo cups and placed them in a stop and shop grocery bag. The drinking glass was secured in an evidence bag, and all evidence was taken to Camp PD. The cocktail glass was turned over to MSP crime technicians for testing. Blah blah blah. Detectives found blood evidence was secured in a refrigerator in the evidence property room. Crime lab technicians. Okay, blah blah. Yeah, in the Solo cups. You never even. Okay, so we know all this. I'm not going to go over all that. Let's stick to the audit here. All right, we know about the video, how it's inverted, right? Can't do nothing to them videos, but you can invert them like Maverick. Speaking of Maverick, we watched Maverick today in dedication to Val Kilmer, dying yesterday. Great movie. He was a great actor. All right. As part of the audit, I met with audit team, advised to download camera footage. Video released related to Karen Reed's Lexus. Custody. Yep. Chain of custody. There's the old. See, that's normal. That big piece right there. That's normal. That's a normal piece, right? That's the way it normally looks, right? 47 pieces. 47. No. It's not happening. 47 pieces? No. The audit team found Canton PD did not follow policy and procedures related to the evidence collection and preservation. The audit team found that there were no Bureau of Criminal Identification units initially on scene, nor were the crime scene kits available or used for evidence collection. Correct. Yes. Packaging, storing moist, wet evidence items due to acceleration of the decomposition. Biological materials must be placed in certain stuff. No photos were taken of John O'Keefe. Exact location of his body, where his body, it was found? I don't think so. Canton PD officers' personal phones, photograph, yep. Not good, not good. Digital camera or laptop computer should have been used to photograph the crime scene. Yep. Canton PD first officer on the scene should have photographed John O'Keefe, where he was found before he was moved by the fire. There must be evidence. Yep. Jennifer McCabe and Kerry Roberts should have been interviewed. Absolutely. And it should have been recorded. Absolutely. At the Canton PD when or after John O'Keefe was taken to the hospital. Both witnesses accompanied by Miss Reed and drove with Miss Reed to 34 Fairview. Yep. Nicole and Bryon Albert should have been interviewed at Canton PD. I disagree. I think they should have went into that house. 100%. 100% went into that house. Both MSP and Canton PD failed to maintain police presence at 34 Fairview. Yep. You blew that up. You just walked away. To maintain integrity of the crime scene, both agencies should have coordinated an officer to maintain the presence at 34 Fairview. Yeah, absolutely. Pending the secondary search by MSP. The audit team found there was incomplete coordination, requesting all video. All right, I don't care about that. Yeah. Horrible. Recommendations. Increase training opportunities for patrol officers and sergeants to access crime scene management training, witness interview, and interrogation training. We have a class that's called interview and interrogation, right? Great class. Really get your skills built up, and then over time and through your career, you get good at it. These guys, if you don't interview a lot of people, I mean, obviously you don't get that good at it. And they definitely need to practice their crime scene stuff. But again, they know how to do a crime scene. We learned that with Peter Murphy. They know how to do a crime scene, people. Okay, they know. That's all I'm going to say. They know. They didn't do it on this one for a reason. The chief of investigation division should review all death investigation police reports and ensure all investigative avenues were completed before reports are finalized. They should ensure that all documentation is prepared in a format that can be used as evidence in court. Correct. Dead body report is, or depending, we'll review definitely. Yeah. So dead body report, it's fill in the blanks, man, and then it's got the body. It's very easy. Not rocket science. Rewrite Canton PD policy procedure related to utilization and authorization of personal cell phone. Yeah, you don't use phone. All sergeant patrol vehicles should be equipped. Yep, we already knew all that. We already went through that. Yep. Lead death investigations, but it does not preclude to Canton PD from assisting MSP. And so, MSP should. You should. If you're a bigger police department, why not help out, man? Why not help out? Where are we? Oh, this is all the other stuff. All right. So, let me stop doing that. Sorry. I forgot for a second there. All right. So we went over like the social media stuff, right? Don't do it. Don't have social media. You don't need it, especially as a cop. Nowadays, with the way everything is going, man, you'd be crazy to have social media as a cop. I just stay away from it. There's no reason. Just enjoy your life. Move on. People don't need to know what you're doing, especially as a police officer or any kind of law enforcement capacity. I did have a story just about an evidence room. I know we had a guy. Actually, you know what? I'm not even going to tell this story. Cell phone. All right. Oh, there was one that let's show you guys. It was on page. See, I did go through all these. Something caught my attention. It was very interesting, and it was for the medical examiner. The police look into the manner of death, and it's the medical examiner that gives you the cause of death, right? So a lot of times the manner of death leads to the cause of death, right? So as an officer, you kind of know, most of the time you'll know kind of like, all right, this is pretty much what happened. But I've actually never heard that before. And I thought that was very cool that police see the manner of death and the medical examiner sees the cause of death. I thought that was pretty cool. I couldn't find it on here. It says it was on page 63, but I'm not seeing it on page 63. So, okay. So, what did we learn from this? Let me get the screen. Oh, let's do it. Let's go back to this. No, this. So, what did we really learn from it? And a lot of people didn't want the audit. A lot of people were like, we don't really need an audit. But you do. You do. Especially something as big as this. So we learned that they really, really, really messed up. They really dropped the ball. And I'm not going to sit here and say they did 100% everything on purpose. I'm not going to say everybody's dirty in the world. You know, we all have our opinions. Again, I always say, look, let the evidence will lead you to where you need to go, right? So do I think personally this investigation was messed up? Yeah. Was it messed up on purpose? I think so. Yeah. So, but either way, we have Karen Reed 2.0 coming up, just started. We have a fan here. They just arrived in Vegas today. Well, you'll see this tomorrow, but it'll be today. And I'm going to go meet them. We're going to have a cup of coffee and maybe some lunch and have some fun. So it's always good to see a fan or a sub when they come out to Vegas. So we always enjoy seeing you guys and meeting you. So, all right. No reason to drone on about this. I hope you guys liked it. Gonzo's not here. So you all are going to say his line. Wait, let me get this to it. Oh, that's wrong one. Where's me? Is this me? Oh, there we go. Okay. So we're going to end it this way. Because Gonzo's not here. You guys are all going to say his line, right? You all know it. You've watched enough videos, right? So, thanks for watching. Make a difference in someone's life. Stay classy, Las Vegas. Thank you. Did it end? No, it didn't end.
One Sam 5 and one Sam 6, copy of 425 call.
Copy. One Sam 5 en route.
One Sam 6, copy, en route.